Hello, everyone. My name is John Vavrina, and I am the Senior Vice President of Sales for Railbookers, and I'll be your host today. I'm going to spend some time explaining who we are, what we do, our top trend in vacations in Canada, and most importantly, I'm going to discuss some of the advantages that you have with Railbookers, which isn't available anywhere else. I even threw in a little bonus itinerary to look at. Whoops, this isn't the bonus itinerary. I'm not sure how one of my self-help slides got into this presentation, so I will be moving on. Okay, please note, if you have any questions, feel free to input them into the question box, and I'll be happy to give you an answer. But let's make sure this thing is working. So let's start off with this. If the past 3 weeks have felt like, I don't know, 6 months, type agreed into the question box. If you feel the past 3 weeks has felt like at least 6 months, type agreed into the question box. Looks like we got a lot of agreeers out there. Excellent. Okay. So who are we? Well, Yankee Holidays was our first brand, established 47 years ago in 1972. Now, in 2007, Yankee Leisure Group was formed, as we were managing multiple brands. Now, today, we have 3 distinct brands: Yankee Holidays, Amtrak Vacations, and Railbookers. And just 9 years ago, Yankee Leisure Group was based solely in the Boston area. Today, we have offices in Southern California, London, Toronto, Boston, and Sydney, Australia. But today, we're going to focus on our Railbookers brand. Now, Railbookers has been serviced in the UK and Australian markets since 2003, but we just introduced Railbookers to the US market at the end of 2017. So let's talk about what Railbookers does and what we offer. We are a custom vacation company for the independent traveler with a unique specialty in rail. Now, there's many motivators for the travelers of independent vacations that include rail. First of all, many travel by rail for the scenery and the views that they would not have the opportunity to observe if they were simply flying overhead on an airplane or doing a white knuckle drive in a country in which they don't read or speak the language. As some are looking for specific famous trains like the Bernina and Glacier Express or the Venice Simplon Orient Express, perhaps even the Rocky Mountaineer, all of which are just a few of the iconic trains we sell worldwide. Others want to visit multiple cities, and they find they prefer the comfort and convenience of being able to travel from the city center to city center by railroad, as well as the ability to get up and stretch their legs whenever they like. Either way, all seem to like the independence and nostalgic appeal of train travel without the hassles of going through airport security or encountering the road rage of congested highways. Whatever the motivation, at Railbookers, we're able to put together the components from the train, hotels, activities, and transfers, even ferries and intercity transportation. We make it easy. Well, take a look at these pictures. Now, the picture on the left is the view from your seat on a bus. The view on the right is what it looks like to travel on board a train. Which seat do you think you'd prefer? The one on the left or the one on the right? Now, keep in mind, too, the speed of train travel. You see, if you were to take a train between, say, Toronto and Montreal, that takes about 5 hours. A bus can easily take 7 to 10 hours, depending on traffic and winter driving. Now, what if you have to get up and use the bathroom on a train? No problem. On a bus, you better get ready for the next pit stop. Even if the bus has a toilet, you cannot use it while the bus is in motion. Have you ever dreamed of having breakfast in London, lunch in Paris, and dinner in Switzerland? Do you know whether you should take the Goddard Pass or the Goddard Tunnel? The good news with Railbookers, our expertise is not just the destinations, as with many tour operators, but we're experts in the train systems all over the world, and the best route to take based on your needs. With an average hold time of 3 seconds, our reservation staff is available to help you plan your ideal vacation based on your criteria and advise you the best pricing and routing to fulfill your needs. Well, imagine it's 9 a.m. in Paris. You overslept and missed your train. Well, some simple math will let you figure out that everyone in the US is still asleep. Not our London office. One call and we can fix your whole vacation, from all the rail, the hotels, the sightseeing, and so on. Well, with all that's going on in the world of the coronavirus, uh, we have some clients that recognize that this is a temporary situation and they want to book while it's cheap. Now, I only recommend you book whenever you feel comfortable doing so. To assist our customers who want to book now and in confidence, we have overwritten the cancellation policies with our new maximum flexibility offer. In a nutshell, all you need to do is call us 5 days prior to your departure date or earlier. As long as you're with at least 5 days prior, so 6 days, 7 days, a week, a month ahead of time, we can make changes to your itinerary or your departure dates with no cancellation fees and without incurring any change fees. All you need to do is give us a call and we can change. Let me give you some examples. Perhaps you were on a Venice, Florence, and Rome vacation. However, you decide that you want to change it to the Grand Canyon on our Amtrak Vacations brand. No problem. Or let's just say you want to change the dates. You want to move the dates by a year or 2 years. No problem. Let's just say you want to completely change and build a custom itinerary somewhere in Canada, for example. And that's not a problem either. So all of our maximum flexibility offer is really meant to help those that do want to book now, give due confidence. Like I said, we're not looking for anyone to book until they feel comfortable doing so. So what do I recommend? You book whenever you feel comfortable, because we're ready whenever you're ready. And many of you are familiar with our Amtrak Vacations brand, which we have packages on the Canadian, and that's the red line. Well, through Railbookers, well, let me distinguish that too. Usually our packages on Amtrak Vacations start or end in the United States. Now, Railbookers, we can add the United States as well, but they don't have to start or end in the United States. Also, our Amtrak Vacations brand is really located to the red line that you see here, which is the Canadian. Through Via Rail Vacations, our Railbookers brand, we're able to offer vacation packages on all of these lines. We also have the ability to work with special partners such as a Rocky Mountaineer in order to create itineraries exclusive to Via Rail Vacations. But this is the real absolute game changer. Now, did you know that most train systems in Europe do not make their tickets, schedules, and pricing available to the public until 90 days prior to departure? Some other train systems, such as Via Rail and Amtrak Vacations, in most cases, it's 11 months. Well, with Railbookers, we have partnerships with all the major train lines all over the world, and that gives us the ability to book rail vacations 24 months in advance, long before it's available to the public or even any other tour operator. And we're able to include both pricing and schedules. So there's no longer the need to wait until the last minute to find out how much a vacation is going to cost or what time it'll be when you arrive in the next city. Now, Railbookers can customize just about any itinerary. But what does customized mean? Well, perhaps you're looking at our Canadian rail experience, which is nonstop Vancouver to Toronto, but you'd like to add 3 nights in Jasper in the middle of the itinerary. Maybe you'd like to mix up your hotels between the cities, including all ranges of hotels from 3-star in some cities to 4-star in other cities to 5-star in other cities. Maybe you like to do the trip in reverse or round trip. As you can see, your options are endless in designing your perfect vacation. Now, our employees do more than just study the train systems and destinations. They actually attend hands-on training trips all over the world, so they can share firsthand knowledge experience. So let's get started. Now, the Canadian Rockies Discovery Eastbound. This is a great package at a great price. You'll get to experience the gorgeous scenery and breathtaking landscapes of the Canadian Rockies on this rail journey from Vancouver to Calgary. Your hop-on, hop-off tour features live commentary and will also bring you to some of Vancouver's most popular attractions, including Stanley Park, Chinatown, Gastown, and Granville Island. Entrance to the Vancouver Lookout is also included in this package, which towers hundreds of feet over the city and gives you a bird's eye view of the city. similar to the Space Needle in Seattle. Also, with an included round-trip ferry ride from Vancouver, you'll be able to stroll down the charming cobblestone streets of Victoria. Now, Victoria has been named both the most romantic city in Canada and one of the top 15 friendliest cities in the world. So perhaps you'd like to visit the Fairmont Empress, which is famous for its afternoon tea, or visit the world-renowned Bouchard Gardens. Wherever you venture, you're sure to be impressed. Now, you're also going to have a sightseeing tour of Jasper National Park and Lake Malign, where you'll stand above the immense walls of Malign Canyon for stunning views of rushing waterfalls. In the sightseeing tour of the Icefields Parkway, you'll get an up-close and personal with massive glaciers during an interactive ride on the Ice Explorer, where you'll walk onto a glacier and sample some of the best-tasting water in the world. Now, also included is admission to the Glacier Adventure and Glacier Skywalk. At the Glacier Skywalk, which is pictured here on the right, you'll enjoy the unobstructed view on a glass-floored observation platform extending 30 meters out over the valley. This is not for the faint of heart. And you're also going to get a chance to explore and get some great pictures of Lake Louise. Maybe you'll choose to relax in the historical Fairmont Chateau Lake Louise. Next up, you'll enjoy the best of Canada on the Canadian Rail experience. You'll capture all the culture and excitement of Vancouver on a fun and user-friendly hop-on, hop-off skiing tour. Then board Via Rail on a Canadian Canadian train for your your cross-country trip to Toronto. You can soak in the pure beauty and majestic sights of many plains, mountains, lakes, and glaciers. You'll get to experience all Toronto has to offer with a sightseeing tour that includes all the attractions. Vancouver has been ranked as the 10th cleanest city in the world. It has the mildest climate in Canada and the highest real estate prices. As in the last adventure, you'll have both a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of Vancouver, as well as a skip-the-line access to the Vancouver Lookout. Toronto is the capital of the Canadian province of Ontario. It's arguably one of the most interesting places in the world. Its history is so rich and extensive that there's some fact about the city that takes people by surprise. For example, 25% of Hollywood movies are actually in Toronto, and it's the third largest city for English theater, just behind New York and London. And you're also going to have a hop-on, hop-off that'll feature Toronto's top sites, such as the Royal Ontario Museum, Casa Loma, the Hockey Hall of Fame, Toronto Harbourfront, Eaton Centre, and Chinatown, among some others. And from the many museums, entertainment districts, historic sites, and sports activities, the sky's the limit for things to do and see in Toronto. And next up, you're going to experience the best of Eastern Canada on this rail journey. Now, this adventure starts in the natural wonder of Niagara Falls. After taking in the beauty of the falls, you'll continue to the European-influenced cities of Montreal and Quebec. Once you're done indulging in the culture, you'll venture off to your last stop of Halifax, where you'll enjoy the comforts of the seaside city. Now, Niagara Falls was created by glacier activity about 10,000 years ago, and at the rate of erosion, scientists believe Niagara Falls will be gone in around 50,000 years. How to get there while there's still time? But seriously, Niagara Falls has been visited by about 30 million people every year. Now, highlights will include Journey Behind the Falls, Niagara's Fury, a whitewater walk, and a ride on the Hornblower Cruise, which will get you up close and personal with the falls. You can see that on the left-hand side. It also includes a 2-day WeGo pass to conveniently get you everywhere you want to go in the area. And then you have Montreal, which is the second largest city in Canada. Now, it was the largest city until sometime in the 70s when Toronto took over the title. Montreal is one of the world's 5 largest French-speaking cities. Most residents are bilingual, and many speak a third language. Well, in Montreal, you're going to have an included guided sightseeing tour, and that provides an excellent experience of the city, taking you to such popular attractions such as the Olympic Stadium, Basilica Notre Dame, and Place Jacques Cartier. Quebec City is the only walled city north of Mexico. Something you may find all over Europe and North America. And when you include the thought of its narrow, winding, cobbled streets, it just oozes the history and charm of old European cities. Eating is one of the many pleasures of Quebec City, and they even have a chocolate museum, so you need to bring your appetites. Your local tour guide will take you to all of Quebec's top attractions. Now you're going to visit such landmarks as the Plains of Abraham, the Basilica, National Assembly, Place Royale, and the Citadel. Then after an overnight on Via Rail, you'll arrive in Halifax, the capital province of Nova Scotia. Now you may enjoy the culture and history of this seaside town, perhaps strolling along the waterfront boardwalk and enjoying a meal of fresh seafood by the water. Included in this vacation is a sightseeing tour of Peggy's Cove, one of Nova Scotia's most well-known lighthouses and maybe the most photographed in all of Canada. While Peggy's Cove is famed for its picturesque and typically East Coast profile, with houses perched along a narrow inlet and on wave-washed boulders that are facing the ocean. And you're going to be riding on the Ocean, which is the name of the passenger train that travels between Montreal, Quebec, and Halifax. Now, it's currently the oldest continuously operated named passenger train in North America. The Ocean schedule takes approximately 23 hours, running overnight in both directions. This scenic route features dramatic coastlines and inland valley scenes. The journey is frequently enhanced by the accompaniment of onboard presentations that give passengers the chance to learn more about local culture and the history of the area. Now, another way to experience the Canadian Rockies is on board the Rocky Mountaineer, which is a 5-star day train, meaning you sleep overnight in Kamloops rather than on board the train. And we have another version of this that is round trip Vancouver and offers both the luxury experience of the Rocky Mountaineer combined with the true train experience of sleeping overnight on board Via Rail. Now, this tour includes the hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour of Vancouver, a chance to marvel at mountains, lakes, and waterfalls on a guided tour from Banff, the transfer from Banff to Calgary, and the Rocky Mountaineer from Vancouver to Banff in Silverleaf class. However, upgrade to Goldleaf is available. Now, the Rocky Mountaineer will not only unlock a world of unparalleled beauty as you carve your way through the Canadian Rockies aboard the all-domed fleet, but also offers complete luxury. 2 classes of service are Silverleaf and Goldleaf, both of which provide domed cars for spectacular views. In a nutshell, the difference is as follows. Silverleaf are single-level dome cars, as pictured in the bottom left, while Goldleaf has seating on the top level of a bi-level car, as in the second picture. Now, beneath the top level of Goldleaf, seating is in the dining car for Goldleaf travelers, as seen in the third picture on the bottom. Silverleaf includes gourmet meals, same as a Goldleaf, but the meals are served at your seats. Now, complimentary beverages, including alcohol, are included for both, as is baggage delivery to the hotel. Now, how many of you would like to actually start in Toronto and head westbound? On our Ultimate Canada and Rockies Westbound, you'll learn what truly makes the Canadian Rockies so majestic on this amazing journey through 4 different cities. To get started, you will tour all the splendid sights of Toronto, including the lovely harborfront. The highlights will include a meal overlooking the falls, a ride on the Hornblower boat, getting you up close and personal with the falls, free time in both Niagara Falls and Niagara on the Lake, and a winery tour and tasting. Let me say that again, a winery tour and tasting. Also pictured here is included admission is to Capilano Suspension Bridge, one of the most popular tourist attractions in British Columbia. The bridge crosses over towering evergreens with views more than 100 feet above the forest floor. Also included is both your tour to explore the spectacular national treasures of Jasper National Park, and your included experience with taking views of the Rockies during the ride of a lifetime on board the Jasper Skytram. Also, you'll get to visit one of the largest expanses of ice and snow south of the Arctic Circle, the Columbia Ice Field. You'll also step on board the Ice Explorer for an interpretive adventure where you'll be able to drive out onto the glacier. And at the Glacier Skywalk, you'll be treated to an unobstructed view of a glass-floored observation platform that extends over the valley. We saw that picture earlier. Other highlights of the day will include both Lake Louise and a hot buffet lunch at the Columbia Icefield Glacier Discovery Center. I know that's a lot of words. Columbia Icefield Glacier Discovery Center. All you got to remember is hot buffet lunch that's included. Now, the Canadian runs between Vancouver and Toronto and vice versa. The complete journey takes 4 days. However, the journey can be broken up with a stop in the Canadian Rockies and Jasper. In addition, from there, you can easily arrange for you to visit Banff and the iconic Lake Louise. But let's spend a few minutes discussing the accommodations on board Via Rail, from economy, sleep berths, cabins, and prestige class. So economy class. Economy class works, if you have, it's great for students and passengers on a budget. You get complimentary access to a dome car, and food's available to purchase from a takeout stand located in the dome car. Think of muffins, sandwiches, sodas, beer, wine, chips. Depending on availability, coach passengers may be able to access the dining car and purchase hot meals prepared by onboard chefs. If you're going between, going through the Canadian Rockies, if you're just doing one overnight on the train, some people will do this. They can, you can sleep in, if you don't mind sleeping in comfy chairs to a 45-degree angle. Most people will choose to do a sleeping accommodation, especially on the other legs of a trip, like, for example, between Toronto and the Canadian Rockies, or Toronto and Vancouver. You're going to be spending either 3 or 4 nights on board. So the most economical entry to the Sleeper Plus class are berths. Now you can choose either upper or lower, and there is no single supplement. So as an individual, you can get either a upper berth or a lower berth. And during the day, the berth accommodation appears as 2 love seat size seating areas that face each other. You see in this picture, it's shows the lower berth at night when converted to a bed, but you can kind of make out that that space is, turns into a, one side of one of the seating areas, and the other side would be directly across. That would look exactly like it. Now, there is privacy at night, as a heavy curtain encloses the sleeping areas between the upper and lower berth. So even if you don't know the person sitting opposite of you during the day, at night, your sleeping accommodations are private. Now, restrooms are at the end of the sleeping car, just a few steps from the berth accommodation. Next up, we have cabin. Now, they have a door that locks from the inside and a covered toilet. By the way, I do see some questions coming in, so just go ahead and keep entering those in there. When we get to the end, I'll start going through all the questions. By the way, so these cabins, for one, they're a love seat by the day with a large window to enjoy the passing scenery, as seen in the picture here. They include a sink with running hot and cold drinking water, as well as access to the shower down the hall. Now, the entire space turns into a bed at night, similar to a class pod on an airline, except a bit bigger. Also, freshly prepared meals in the dining car are included in the fare. Cabins for 2, like the cabin for 1, features a door that locks from the inside, 2 large chairs during the day, and a large window to enjoy the scenery from the room. Also included is a private toilet and vanity with hot and cold drinking water, as well as shower access in the car at the end of the hallway. Freshly prepared meals by a chef in the dining car are included in the fare as well. So another question I get sometimes is, again, about single supplements. And on this train, a cabin for 1 is the same cost per person as a cabin for 2. So 2 people in a cabin for 2, they would each pay the same price as if those 2 people went into 2 cabins for 1. There would be no price difference. So if you just take a cabin for 1 on your own, you don't have to pay a single supplement or pay for the rest of the second half of a cabin or anything. Important to note here too is anytime you have the sleeping accommodations, as I mentioned, the meals are included. And more importantly too is in the cabin for one, the cabin for two, the toilet is inside the cabin, but the shower is down the hall. Now the shower is private but shared. So what does that mean? That means if you're using one of the showers down the hall, no one's coming in to brush your teeth, right? But when you're not in there, there could be another cabin using that shower or those, one of those showers down there. Now, Prestige, as I like to refer to, is the ultimate experience. Now, this has a spacious cabin, 50% larger than our cabin for two, a leather L-shaped couch by day. Now, look carefully. That is actually a double bed for two by night, facing the window. What a beautiful view. Now, this class includes radiant heated floors and walls in the cabin, as well as a concierge to take care of your needs. Now, this is the only class which you get the private washroom with the shower inside the cabin itself. So if you have to have a private shower versus the private but shared shower that we talked about before, if you want a private shower, Prestige class is the only way to get that. Now, the Prestige class lounges, they offer a complimentary bar service, snacks, specialty coffees, and a variety of activities such as wine tastings, interactive talks on local history, geography, and culture. All this is part of the Prestige sleeper car experience. Now, all meals aboard the Canadian are prepared fresh and are ordered off a menu with four choices per meal. Now, vegetarian options are always available and special requests can be made. The menus reflect the location the train is traveling through. For example, you may find seafood on the menu as we approach the Pacific coast, beef and lamb in the prairies, and fish from the Great Lakes in northern Ontario. Meals are included for all Sleeper Plus and Prestige class passengers. Basically, if you have a sleeping accommodation, all your meals are included. And here's a bonus itinerary through in there because it is so popular right now, and that is our Alaska adventure with Alaska Railroad. Now, Alaska is famous for its glaciers, fjords, mountains, and lakes. And on this 9-day journey, you'll get to experience it all. By the way, we have about a dozen different Alaska itineraries, plus any one of them can be modified. But chances are, if you're trying to modify it, we already have that itinerary that you're trying to modify it. Now, you're going to start this adventure in Anchorage, which is the largest city in Alaska and is known for its mountainous, snowy scenery and numerous outdoor activities like skiing and hiking. Included is a guided 15-mile scenic tour through Anchorage to learn about its history and the culture. Now, there's several segments on this Alaska Railroad, but the entire journey is about jaw-dropping views and nature. And I know these pictures don't do it justice, but at least gives you a general idea. Now, the other thing I want you to do is take a look at the bottom right picture, where you can kind of see, I know it's kind of small, but you can see people outside, although they have a roof over their head and they have a railing around them. But it looks like they're on a second floor, and it's a second floor viewing platform. I'm going to talk about that in just a minute, so I just wanted to point that out to you here first. Now, on board the Alaska Railroad, two options are available. This package comes standard in adventure class, which, as you can see, is a pretty comfortable class, and it includes a confirmed seat with a large picture window. You can see that on the right-hand side. Onboard dining and bar service is available for purchase in the Wilderness Cafe. Freedom to explore between other adventure class cars. And then you have access to open seating in the Vista Dome car. That's the picture on the left-hand side. For those of you who want the finer things in life, there is an upgrade option to Gold Star service. Think of this as similar to the Gold Leaf Choice on the Rocky Mountaineer. Now, this has glass dome ceilings. You can see that on the left-hand picture. That's what your regular seating looks like there. upper level outdoor viewing platform. So this is really cool. This is the picture 2 slides ago I pointed at. The people were on a second level and they were outside. They had a roof over their head, but there was a rail. They were literally outside. That's included with the Gold Star service. Also included is inclusive dining at the lower level of the full service dining car. So you can see that on the right hand side. Private bar and 2 complimentary adult beverages. Okay. Comfortable forward facing seats. And then you also get an Alaska tour guide providing narration. Also included in this vacation is a 6-hour sightseeing cruise with lunch included through KENAI FJORDS National Park. You'll get to witness the beauty of the mountains, glaciers, and wildlife. And then in Denali, you'll explore all the best that Denali National Park has to offer on your full-day tour. By the way, I got to ask this before. We actually do stay in Denali National Park. You don't just go there for the tour. Anyway, highlights of the tour include a stop at the Polychrome Overlook, which is known for its gorgeous kaleidoscope of colors, and Wonder Lake, offering some of the best views of Denali and the Alaska Range. Now, this vacation will end up with one more journey back to Anchorage with an overnight in that large city to make it an easy way to fly home the following day. So which destinations are you currently in? What's on your bucket list, even if it's not Canada? Type that into your, if you type that into your questions box, what that does is that helps us design not only our webinars for the future for what is currently booking, but also what people are currently looking at. Because as we know, this is a time of year that, or in this environment, where people are doing a lot of looking. So a lot more looking than booking is going on right now. And we want to make sure that we're bringing you the information that you're looking for week after week. So if you've got any bucket list areas that you like, remember, we sell train travel worldwide. So please, in the question box, type in any bucket, just type in bucket list, country or bucket list destination, what you're interested in seeing, and we'll use that to create, as we do these webinars week after week. Now, our website's easy to navigate and has some great trip planning tools. You can even order brochures, but keep in mind that the brochures will only show you a fraction of the itineraries available on the website. Another point about the brochure, you can actually only access the electronic brochures right now. Due to everything that's going on, the mail houses or the brochure warehouses that both print and distribute the brochures are actually all closed. Now, also, if we don't have an itinerary that fits your travel needs, don't forget, we can build one from scratch. And by the way, this is another important point. There is no extra cost associated with building a custom itinerary. In fact, all of our itineraries are basically custom itineraries. What we've done is we've just packaged the most commonly requested custom itineraries to give people ideas of what other people are doing. But whether you're custom itinerary or whether you're having us build something that we don't actually have, there's no associated cost with that. That's really what we do. That's the part of being an independent independent traveler is it's all about custom vacations and what you're looking to do. Now, through our direct partnerships, we're offering something not available anywhere else in the travel industry today, and we're getting noticed for it. Remember that booking 2 years in advance? Think of European train. Think of Spain. Spanish rail usually you're lucky if you get it 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. Most European rail, 90 days or less is when it becomes available, both pricing and schedules. Parts of the world, like whether you're talking about the Rocky Mountaineer, Via Rail, Amtrak, those are generally 11 months in advance. But we can book everything, the entire vacation, 2 years in advance, 24 months. But don't take my word for it, take theirs. Now, this is the time that I am going to open it up for questions. I do see quite a few have come in, but if you haven't put in any questions yet, please do so. Please do so now as I start reading through these, and I should be able to get to all, if not most, of the questions that are coming in. So let's take a look here. Great question. So which part of the Rocky Mountains is most impressive by trains across the US or across Canada? That is a tomato question, because you hear so much on both. Um, the Amtrak train that goes through, or there's a couple of Amtrak trains that do it, are known as the best routes for that. But then the Canadian Rockies in Canada are so well known between both Rocky Mountaineer and Via Rail. So I would love to answer that for you, but my answer would simply be an opinion. There is no fact based on that. I will tell you, I lean towards the Canadian Rockies myself, but that does not mean that is the correct answer. Another question about Rocky Mountaineer offering a special. Do you also offer it? Generally, they are tied in, but there's times actually we offer specials that the Rocky Mountaineer doesn't have. Another question, which is, usually, yeah, I think I did see it. There are questions here about, and this is more than just the Rocky Mountaineer, but it says, why wouldn't I just book the Rocky Mountaineer online? And this goes into everything. Like I could do the Orient Express online, right? The reason why we partner with any special partners on certain trains, these iconic trains all over the world, is because we offer something they don't. And there's a couple things that we offer that they don't. So for example, if you were to book the Orient Express online, that is a 2-day, 1-night trip. Most people that go to Europe from the US or from Australia or wherever you're going there want more than a 1-night trip or more than 2 days in Europe. Well, we can build a trip including that piece. Rocky Mountaineer, same thing. So let me give you an example. Our two most popular itineraries. I know I showed you one today, but there's actually two itineraries that are even more popular than that. One of them is round trip Vancouver, which is called the Grand Circle or the Circle of the Canadian Rockies, in which you get to the Canadian Rockies on the Rocky Mountaineer, and then you get the true train experience of sleeping overnight on the Via Rail train on the way out. So you get two different train experiences with incredible views on both sides, both ways of doing it. Another example of that would be a lot of people that do the Rocky Mountaineer also want to go across Canada one way or another. Either they want to get from Toronto to Vancouver or Vancouver to Toronto. And the Canadian Rockies is just one piece of that. So we have both the Canadian Rockies, we can combine both the Rocky Mountaineer, the sightseeing tours, Banff, Jasper, all that, and then also the train between the Canadian Rockies all the way to Toronto on Via Rail, and package that all together. And the best thing about that, one thing goes wrong, you make one phone call, we can fix all the rest of the pieces. The other thing too, that gives us the ability to book these trains 2 years in advance, right? So that offers our clientele an edge on both pricing and accommodations and seating. So that's why we, when we work with special partners, if all you were looking for was a 2-day in the Rocky Mountaineer, there'd be no benefit in booking it to us unless you wanted to book it more than a year in advance. But if you want to do other stuff, then there is that makes a lot of sense. Or you want to book, more than 2 years in advance. That's where we have lots of edge and a lot of flexibility and a lot of advantage for you. Otherwise, you're going to pay the same price for the same product. I can't really say there's an advantage to booking a 2-day Mountaineer Railbookers versus a 2-day Rocky Mountaineer strictly with the Rocky Mountaineer. Doesn't make, same thing with the Orient Express or anything else. One night on the Orient Express is not going to be an advantage. The advantage is all the additional stuff that we can do. Let's see. Great. So there is a question here from agents that wants to talk about virtual destinations and stuff that they can send their clients, post on Facebook. So yes, I'll have our inside sales team give you a call, and when they get you, they'll get your email address to email you. We have drop boxes set up specifically for agents that will have everything from videos to social media imagery to flyers that are customizable that you put your contact information on there. So all that is available for you in our boxes. Sleeper car available. So yes, there is sleeper cars from this one says Toronto, Niagara Falls to Quebec City and perhaps Halifax. So yes, there is sleeper cars on the ocean that goes to Halifax. Most people that go to Halifax from Quebec City are going to do it in a sleeper car. Um, so there are, they look a little bit different than the Canadian sleeper cars. Some of them actually have showers inside the room themselves. Some don't. There's actually no cost difference. So the earlier you book, the better off you are because you can pay the same price to have a sleeper car with your shower inside the room itself, which is not actually available on the Canadian. But yes, there are sleeper cars in there. Great question about being already booked on Canadian and didn't know that can carve out to stay in Banff or Lake Louise. How many days could I do? How would that work? Yeah, no problem. So assuming that you're booked with us, we can modify your. There's no charges to modify your trip there's a change in the rail on the day you were going to travel to now extending it. The interesting thing is when you do that, that's not a problem for us to add in those days and stuff. The days will depend on your exact departure date because that train actually only runs either twice a week or 3 times a week. So depending on where you're looking to extend, it would be you may be there for like 3 nights. You may be there for 2 nights. It depends really, or 4 nights, whatever it is. It depends on the train schedule and when you're already set to be there. What year you're set. So we can easily tell you on our reservations team. We can look it up and make those modifications. Question here: if we book trips to Russia, yes, we do. We actually have some packages that you can find on our website already preset. We don't do a lot of customization in Russia, so that's we can customize any of our itineraries. There are things like throughout North America that we literally can build from scratch. Basically, you think of it, 35,000 Union stations, over 500 track stations. Very easy for us to build that together. There are certain parts of the world that we're limited to the types of changes that we can do. Russia is one of them. So it's not that we can't modify it, but we can't just anything existence the way we pretty much can do in Europe and North America, or inland Europe, I should say. How much is the deposit and final? So this is a good question that comes up quite a bit. Most people are used to when they buy, train tickets or when they buy, different types of vacations. At time of booking, they have to pay for 100%. That is not the case with Railbookers or even our sister brand Amtrak Vacations. So the deposit with Railbooker is $250 per person, regardless of the cost of the trip. So if that trip is, $2,000, whether that trip is $10,000, there's only 2 payments that are due. $250 per person at time of booking. When you say, yep, lock everything in, here's my $250 deposit. Then final payment isn't due until 90 days prior to departure in Europe. In North America, it's due 60 days of departure. Those are the only 2 times that we're looking for payment: the deposit, final payment. So if you book something with us 2 years in advance, $250 per person when you book it, and then a year and what is that, 10 months or 9 months, year and 9 months later till final payments due. Some people do payments long, but they're set, have a way to automatically extract any percent. We're not looking for any types of payments other than final payment and deposit. But if the call payments on a monthly basis, whatever you're comfortable with, you certainly can. There's no problem in doing that, but there's no penalty not to do that because we're not looking for. We're only looking for deposit and then final payment when that's due. Good question about scenery and missing that by the Canadian traveling at night. So it really depends, what piece of uh, the Canadian, when you're going cross country on the Canadian for 6 days, there's a lot of phenomenal scenery, and it looks the same during day and during night. So even if you go in different areas, so you're not really missing much because you're going to see it during the light hours anyway. Um, that the same thing that you're going to see, because remember, you're going cross country, in an area where there's it's just wide spread area, when you're going actually across Canada. Now, when you talk about areas in the Canadian Rockies, you actually, like when you depart, for example, Vancouver, you're really departing later at night. So you're actually driving through the area before you get to the real scenic area. And it's not till the light, it's not till the next morning when you start seeing and driving into the Canadian Rockies and you really start seeing the breathtaking views. Another question about brochures. I think I explained that. Right now, it's just electronic brochures, but there's even more itineraries on the website. So if you're going to go to the website to order brochures, you might as well just look at the itineraries on there. But you can get the electronic brochures from there. Question about joining late and if they can get a copy of this presentation. Yep, we are recording the presentation. We do email out a link to everyone within 4 hours. Oh, great question, Brady. So we can give you a call this week, so either today or tomorrow, and can let you know the upcoming webinars. We are doing them week, so we can go over what is coming up next week and what are the itineraries that are going to be inclusive into that. I'd pull them up right now, except I'd lose my screen. So fortunately, I wouldn't be able to show you. But in general, what we're gonna pull up for Railbookers will be so there'll probably be a different Alaska. On the very next one will probably be a different Alaska itinerary. There will be probably some type of UK itinerary current booking. So it'll probably be some type of UK itinerary, possibly a Canadian itinerary, such as one that we didn't discuss. And then I'm not sure, but we can give you a call and let you know. I'm not actually doing that presentation, but we will we definitely can let you know. The presentation's already designed. It just needs to be. We just need to let you know what's going to be the ones on there. And I think I have covered all the questions that came in. If not, I apologize, and we'll definitely get to you. I just really, really appreciate everyone, tuning in. I know there's not a whole lot to do these days with, sports being canceled, both professionally and kids sports being canceled. All the social distancing. A lot of people are stuck at home. So yeah, we will be. We will be. In fact, if you go to our website and you sign up for the newsletter, when you hit the website, it'll pop up. Get invites each week for different webinars that we are presenting. So if you just want to come along and do what's called a watch party and just see different destinations being discussed, the very beginning, when we talk about who we are and what we do, that'll always be there. And a lot of times the different products will be based on what we currently still see trending now, either people viewing, or booking. But thank you everybody for being with us and spending some time with us. We really appreciate it. And just everybody stay safe, and soon enough this will all be over and we can actually get to these destinations, because I got to tell you, I haven't been on a plane in so long, and I'm used to being on a plane every couple of weeks somewhere. So I am looking forward to fly into my next train vacation, or even getting on a train to get there, whatever I got to do. But now spend all my time in the living room, the bedroom, the kitchen, maybe some time in the patio. That's my big adventure for the near future. So hope everybody stays safe and have a great day, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.